Hey everyone, this is OKCoyote. Welcome to my Magic the Gathering December Pack-A-Day Challenge for December 18th. Today's pack is 2015 Core Set. So, for those of you who are new to this series and are wondering what I'm doing, I am opening a different pack of Magic the Gathering every day in December. It's every day for 31 days. I've got 31 different packs. Like I said, this is the 2015 core set. Core sets have had a long history in Magic the Gathering. Of course, the very first set was a core set, and it's been through several revisions. This is always like the basic set that's recommended for new players. Tends to have simpler cards and mechanics. Usually lots of reprints, but sometimes some new cards. There's been years that the core set comes out, and there's been years that they don't put out a core set. The last core set was in 2020 when they released core set 2021. Yes, that's what it was called. There was no core set this year because they released Adventures of the Forgotten Realms instead. I think next year's core set slot is going to Dominaria United, which makes sense because Dominaria is sort of the home plane of the Magic multiverse. So maybe it's going to feel core set-ish, even if it's not technically a core set. Anyway, I'm rambling about core sets, and I'm not talking about this one, and that's because I probably wasn't playing during this set. I've taken several breaks throughout my Magic history, so I honestly don't know or don't remember what was in this set, but we're going to find out what's in this pack right now. So let's get into it. All right, our core set experience starts with Miner's Bane. This is a 4 red for a 6/3 creature elemental. You can pay 2 and a red. Miner's Bane gets +1/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Yeah, that's fine. Something big for the top of your curve. It's big, but it's kind of a glass cannon. It's easily killable, but the fact that it gets trample means it's still going to do some damage, even if it's blocked by like a 3/3 or something. You give it trample, and it's still going to get through for some damage. Yeah, it's fairly good. All right, moving on to Razorfoot Griffin. This one's been reprinted many times. 3 and a white for a 2/2 Griffin with flying and first strike. It's fair. 2/2 is kind of small for 4 mana, even with flying. First strike is fairly nice though. It's a decent card. Flesh to Dust. 3 black for an instant that says destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. Cool. There are plenty of black cards that do this much more cheaply. Murder, going back in time a bit, Terror, Dark Banishing. Those are the types of cards that did this cheaper, but they didn't affect black creatures. You got cards that don't affect artifact creatures or don't affect certain creature types. But Murder is kind of the solid one. Destroy target creature for 3 mana. But this adds that it can't be regenerated. Cool. We don't see much regeneration anymore, though. They've kind of phased that out. So it's really, in today's environment, it's pretty unnecessary, which makes this an expensive card at 5 mana. But, if you're drafting, you need your removal. This is removal. Naturalize. This is one of the most reprinted cards ever. 1 and a green for an instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Yep, that's it. I've talked about cards like this before. These are cards that need to exist. They'll end up in a sideboard. They'll occasionally see use, but you're not going to draft them early. You're not going to feel good about taking them. Goblin Rough Rider. 2 and a red for a 3/2 Goblin Knight. Yep, that's all it is. It's vanilla. And that's the thing with core sets. You're going to have a lot of vanilla creatures or creatures that have a couple abilities that are not very complicated. Again, these are designed to make the learning curve easier for new players. Not like stupid easy, but you know what I mean. They're some more basic terms and concepts. Whereas the more complicated cards start to show up in the later rarities. So anyway, this is a vanilla. What I mean by vanilla is it has no abilities. It's just a 3/2 for 3. And that's fine. It's that's a decent power and toughness for that mana cost. And the fact that it's a goblin and a knight might it might benefit from some other cards. There's certainly a lot of cards that affect goblins. So yeah. Meditation Puzzle. I don't think I've ever seen this card. 3 white for an instant with Convoke, and you gain 8 life. Convoke says that your creatures can help cast the spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 or 1 mana of that creature's color. Okay, so it's a life gain spell, and you can tap your creatures and make it cheaper. It's still just a life gain spell. I don't like cards like this usually because I don't like spending mana to gain life when I could be spending mana to deal damage. There are other times where I like gaining life, and that's usually on like lifelink creatures and things like that, where you're doing both. You're gaining life and dealing damage. Generally, I don't like cards like this. 8 life is a pretty big swing, especially if you could get it out for 2 mana, but I'd rather have another creature on the board. Mind Sculpt. Well, that sounds like somebody I know. 1 and a blue for a sorcery. Target opponent puts the top 7 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. So, milling is a thing. Milling is a strategy that some people will do, not just in Constructed, but in Draft or Sealed. Sealed, it's harder to do, but in Draft, you can try to find these first and grab as many as you can and build yourself a mill deck. If you do, I hate you. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Okay, next up. Blastfire Bolt. 5 and a red. Instant. Blastfire Bolt deals 5 damage to target creature. Destroy all equipment attached to that creature. Cool. It's a very solid removal spell. It does 5 to something that's going to kill most threats. Blowing up equipment is a nice little perk, but minor one at best. Again, though, this is an expensive card. The mana cost on this is quite high. Which I think that, and with Flesh to Dust, that's intentional. Like, these are meant to be not your top-of-the-line constructed playable cards. These are meant for basic games, and in Draft, they're going to be fine choices. They're not necessarily first pickable, but they are fine. They remove things. Marked by Honor. 3 and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance. Yeah, again, normally I'm not big on auras. This one's a bit pricey at 4 mana. I don't know, maybe mana costs were just higher in 2015. I feel like the power curve has been steadily creeping up, but I didn't think it was that much worse in 2015 than it is now. Moving into the uncommons, we have Bloodhost. This is 3 black for a 3/3 vampire. And you can pay 1 and a black and sacrifice another creature to put a +1/+1 counter on Bloodhost, and you gain 2 life. Now, here's an example of a life gain card that I like. This is an easy build around card because you can make a lot of decks that generate a lot, decks where token generation is a thing, and it can be very easy to find, or cards that come back from the graveyard repeatedly, like reassembling skeleton and the like. So it's very easy to get like a repeatable source of fuel for this guy, which is pretty cool. In Draft, he's fine. You're not going to have a ton of creatures unless you get lucky with a combo. But even so, you can throw your creatures in front of an attacker and then sacrifice them to this, and you get a little value out of it. So, yeah, it's a good card. Jorubai Merklurker, which is one of the weirdest titles I've heard. 2 and a blue for a 1/3 leech. Jorubai Merklurker gets +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp. And you can pay 1 and a black. Target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. So this is like a blue sedge troll. Interesting. If you're not playing black, this is not worth it at all. At all. 1/3 for 3, and that's all it is. But if you are playing black, it's a 2/4, and it can give creatures lifelink for 2. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if I've already got the black and blue going, I would run this. Zathrid Slyblade. 2 and a black for a 2/1 human assassin with hexproof. I like hexproof. 3 and a black until end of turn. Zathrid Slyblade loses hexproof and gains first strike and death touch. Neat. Little expensive on the mana side, but you know, the hexproof is cool. Having it suddenly swap out for first strike and death touch is really neat too, because basically that gives it a vulnerable point, but it's going to kill anything it touches. So yeah, it's a solid card. Before we get to our rare, let's look at what else is in the pack. We have an emblem card. This is the first emblem I've opened since we've started this series. This is an emblem for whatever Ajani is in this set. And the emblem says, if a source would deal damage to you or a planeswalker you control, prevent all but 1 of that damage. Okay. So if you have that Ajani that makes this emblem, there you go, you have the token. We've also got the basic land. There it is. It's a forest. We have a foil in this pack. Unfortunately, it is a foil of Razorfoot Griffin, which we've already got one of in the pack. So I got a foil and a non-foil of the same card in the same pack. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, our rare is Obnixilis Unshackled. I know this is a big dude. This is a demon that has also been a planeswalker in some incarnations. So he's a pretty important character. He's 4 black for a 4/4 legendary creature demon. He has flying and trample. Whenever an opponent searches his or her library, that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. Okay. Screw you, Blue Deck. Or Evolving Wilds, even. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Obnixilis Unshackled. Well, this is a fun one. I made no secret. I like big bomb flying creatures when I draft. They usually win me games. So I would definitely, I'm pretty happy with that. And I would definitely first pick Obnixilis in this pack if this were handed to me in a draft. So there it is. That's going to do it for the Core Set 2015 pack. Don't forget to like this video if you liked this video. You can also subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on Twitter at OKCoyote. That's going to do it for today's edition of the Pack-A-Day Challenge. We will see you tomorrow with another pack. Bye-bye.